Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In the course of this video lesson, I'll be solving different practice questions that cut across the subject biology. So let's get into the first practice question, which says penicillin is extracted from option A, yeast, option B, algae, option C, fungus, option D, lichen. So how do we answer this question? This question is extremely very easy. First of all, we have to understand what this term penicillin is all about. So this must be noted about penicillin. It must be noted here that penicillin is an antibiotic. This must be noted first about that term called penicillin. It is an antibiotics, meaning that, antibiotics, they are medications, they are drugs used to fight against bacterial infections. Are you getting me now? So they are not asking us, where is penicillin gotten from? Where is penicillin extracted from? So this will tell you also that some drugs, some medications used to treat diseases or infections in the body, they are gotten from living organisms. Now, it must be noted here that the field of study that has to do with the formation of drugs or medications from living organisms is regarded to be called pharmacognosy. Okay, so they're not asking us, where is this penicillin extracted from? It is actually very easy. First of all, this must be noted. Let us analyze the options. You can see option A is yeast, option B algae, option C fungus, option D lichen. First of all, we have to know that yeast is a fungus. Let's get this straight. Yeast is what? A fungus. Algae are totally different, okay? Whereby for option D, lichen is basically an association between a fungus and an algae. Are you getting me now? This gives rise to lichen. Now, we have to note here that we have various examples of fungus. I said yeast is what? An example of a fungus. When you move over to classification of living organism, talking about the division of fungus, you will see that fungus is divided into different groups. We have the likes of the zygomycota. This is an example or a division of fungus. Zygomycota. Okay, zygomycota is an example of a fungus, and under zygomycota, we have a fungus called the rhizopus. The rhizopus family. We have the rhizopus family, and it is a good example of a zygomycota. Okay, so we have various examples of rhizopus. We have Rhizopus stolonifer, we have Rhizopus japonica. So moving further, what are other groups under the fungus? Because actually, penicillin is extracted from a particular fungus, because it must be noted here that penicillin is extracted from a particular fungus. Okay, so I told you that yeast is what? A fungus. Can I say that penicillin is extracted from yeast? No, I did not say that. Penicillin is extracted from a particular fungus, which I'm going to talk about in this particular video lesson. Let's all just know that the answer to this question is fungus, not yeast. Though yeast is the fungus, but penicillin is not extracted from yeast. I'm going to talk about other substances that can be extracted from yeast in this particular video lesson. So we've talked about the zygomycota family. We have another division of the fungus, which is called ascomycota. Okay, ascomycota, a good example is yeast. Are you getting me now? On yeast, we have different examples like the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is used for baking. Okay, it is a yeast used for baking. This must be noted. Now, not just yeast is an example of the ascomycota family of fungus. We have other examples like Penicillium, Chrysogenum. This is another example of a fungus. specifically an ascomycota. So if you observe, you can see the word penicillium. This is where penicillin is extracted from. Are you following me now? So this must be noted. So the specific fungus which penicillin is extracted from is called what? Penicillium. Not just Penicillium, Chrysogenum, and yeast are examples of the ascomycota. We have other examples like Aspergillus, Aspergillus ninja. This is also an example of what? The ascomycota family of fungus. We have other divisions like the Basidiomycota, Basidiomycota. A good example under this group is what we call mushroom. This must be noted. We have other divisions like the Deuteromycota. We have other divisions like the Cytridiomycota. So all of these are good examples of the fungus. So you've seen now that penicillin is not extracted from yeast, but rather extracted from the Penicillium Chrysogenum, which is an ascomycota and also which is a fungus. So the answer to this question is what? Fungus. So moving further, let's get into the second practice question, which says the pituitary gland is located where? Where is the pituitary gland located? Very easy. It must be noted here that the pituitary gland is located in the brain. Remember, the pituitary gland is also regarded to be called the master gland. Take note of this. It is also called what? The master gland. Why is it called the master gland? It is called the master gland because it controls the activities of other glands in the body. Remember, you have to understand that glands are of two groups. We have the endocrine glands and also we have the exocrine glands. What are the other names for endocrine glands? They are also called ductless glands, whereby for exocrine, they are also called duct gland. What does it mean for a gland to be ductless? That means when that gland releases its substance, it goes directly into the bloodstream without passing through any veins, any orifice. Do you understand? That's what it means to be ductless. There is no veins to which the substance will be secreted by the gland passes through. But if it is a duct gland, there will be a veins. I believe you understand the point. We have good examples of the endocrine glands, okay? We have good examples of the endocrine glands. And what are the examples of the endocrine gland? We have the likes of the first one mentioned here, which is called the pituitary gland, okay, which is also regarded to be called the master gland. The pituitary gland basically produces what we call the pituitary hormones. The pituitary gland has two lobes. It's divided into two parts. We have the anterior pituitary gland and also we have the posterior pituitary gland. After the pituitary gland, we have other endocrine gland like the pancreas gland. The pancreas gland. This gland basically produces what we call hormones. Now, moving further, before we talk more on the pancreas gland, you have to understand that the endocrine gland produces majorly hormones. And remember, hormones are chemical substances. Okay, so what are the substances produced by the pancreas gland? I said generally, the endocrine gland produces hormones. And what are they? We have the likes of insulin and also we have the likes of glucagon. Are you getting me now? But it is not just the pancreas gland that is producing these hormones directly. There is a cell inside the pancreas gland that produces these hormones, and that cell, they are called the islet cell. Islet cell, specifically called the islet of Langerhans. The islet of what? Langerhans. These are the cells that produces insulin and what? Glucagon. Specifically, insulin is produced by a cell called beta cells, whereby glucagons, they are produced by cells called the alpha cells. Take note of these. These are very, very important. These are the cells inside the islet, and the islet is found inside the pancreas, which produces these hormones, and they have their specific functions. Now, moving further, we have other examples of the endocrine glands, like the likes of the adrenal gland. The what? Adrenal gland. This gland is very extremely important in the body. The adrenal gland is divided into two parts. Okay, it is divided into what we call the adrenal cortex and also what we call the adrenal medulla. This is the division of the adrenal gland. Are you getting now? Like the pancreas gland said that it is divided, it produces two hormones, which is the insulin and glucagon. But for the adrenal gland, it is of two parts, okay, which include the adrenal cortex and also the adrenal medulla. So on the adrenal cortex, it is divided into two parts as well, which include glucocorticoid part of it. That means the adrenal cortex produces what we call the glucocorticoid hormones and also produces another hormone called the mineralocorticoid hormones. Okay, this must be noted. The glucocorticoids and also the mineralocorticoids, they are gotten from what now? The adrenal cortex, whereby the adrenal medulla give rise to two hormones, which are the epinephrine hormone. Remember, epinephrine is also regarded to be called adrenaline, which is responsible for what now? Fight, fright, and flight. That's the adrenaline hormone. It is also regarded to be called the epinephrine hormone. Now, the other one is the non-epinephrine. I believe you can see it here. Non-epinephrine, which is also regarded to be called noradrenaline. So this must be noted about the adrenal glands. Are you following me now? So we have other examples of the endocrine glands. For the exocrine gland, we have examples like the salivary gland, which helps to produce saliva. We have the sebaceous gland, which helps to produce sebum that is found in the skin. So moving further, let's get into the next question, which is question number 3, and it says, which of the following disease is caused by a virus? The answer to this question is option A, poliomyelitis. Remember, poliomyelitis is caused by a virus called the poliovirus. Take note of this, and it affects majorly children. This is why, poliomyelitis is also regarded to be called infantile paralysis. Okay, infantile paralysis meaning that it affects children, infants. Children can actually contract the disease called poliomyelitis, also called infantile paralysis, when they fail to take the vaccine called the polio vaccine. Okay, either the oral polio vaccine or the IPV, inactivated polio vaccine. Okay, it's important for children to be vaccinated with the polio vaccine to prevent this disease called the poliomyelitis. So we have malaria. Malaria is not caused by a virus. Malaria is caused by a plasmodium. Listen, malaria is caused by what we call plasmodium. We have different species of plasmodium. We have the plasmodium knowlesi, we have the plasmodium vivax, plasmodium falciparum, plasmodium ovuli. Now, you can see I mentioned one called plasmodium falciparum. Plasmodium falciparum is the most active form of plasmodium which causes the disease called malaria. And plasmodium is an example of a protozoa. So what will you call malaria? You call malaria a protozoa disease. Malaria is caused by a protozoa, not a virus. I believe you are following. Whooping cough is caused by a pathogen called Bordetella pertussis. Bordetella pertussis is a bacterial. So what will be whooping cough? Whooping cough will be caused by a bacterial, not a virus. Whereby ringworm is a fungus disease. Ringworm is caused by a pathogen called Tinea capitis. Tinea what? Capitis. Take note. We have different types of ringworm, but this must be noted. So you can see that the answer to this question is poliomyelitis. So moving further to question number 4, which says, which of the following is known as, vitamins of two groups? We have the fat-soluble vitamins, and also we have the water-soluble vitamins. Okay, the water-soluble vitamins. For the fat-soluble vitamins, they are regarded to be called ADEK, A-D-E-K. Whereas for the water-soluble vitamins, they are divided into two groups, which is vitamin B's and vitamin C. So we have different B's. We have the B complex, the B1, we have B2, we have B3, we have B5, yes, we have B6, we don't have B4, we have B7, we have B9, and we have B12. I'm going to tell you their names. For B1, it is called thiamine. Listen, B1 is called thiamine. I did not say thymine. Thymine is a nitrogenous base found in DNA and RNA. Are you following me now? Whereby thiamine is what? Vitamin B1. So moving further, vitamin B2 is called riboflavin. Vitamin B3 is called niacin, also called nicotinic acid. Vitamin B5 is called pantothenic acid. Vitamin B6 is called pyridoxine. We have different species of pyridoxine, okay? But just know that B6 is called what? Pyridoxine. We have pyridoxal and the rest. For B7, it is called biotin. For vitamin B9, it is called folic acid or folate. Whereby for vitamin B12 is called cobalamin. We have different species of cobalamin. We have, when cobalamin is attached to a group called the cyanide group, you call it cyanocobalamin. When cobalamin is attached to a group called the OH group, which is a hydroxy group, you call it hydroxycobalamin. So that is for the vitamin B complex. So vitamin B1, as said, is called thiamine. So the answer to this question becomes option B. So moving further, let's get into the next practice question, which is question 5. And it says, the presence of what distinguishes a plant cell from an animal cell? This must be noted. To differentiate from a plant cell and an animal cell, that means they are asking us to tell the distinguishing factor that separates plant cells from animal cells. Very easy. So it must be noted here that, first of all, plant cells have what we call chloroplast. Animal cells do not. What is the chloroplast function? You have to know that, okay, chloroplast is in the option already. So this is the answer. Plant cells have chloroplast, animal cells do not. So what's the function of chloroplast? Chloroplast contains a pigment called the chlorophyll pigment. Are you getting me now? Chlorophyll, we have different species of chlorophyll. We have chlorophyll A, B, C, D, E. Do you understand? This chlorophyll, what's the function of the chlorophyll? Chlorophyll helps in a process called photosynthesis, whereby plants having the ability to produce their own food, okay, through the help of what? Sunlight. So on this, you will see that chloroplast is seen only in plant cells. Are you getting me now? Animal cells cannot produce their own food. They depend on already made food. So then, they don't have chloroplast. So this is one factor that distinguishes plant cells from what? Animal cells. So moving further to option B, nucleus. Both cells contains nucleus. You know, the nucleus houses the genetic material in a cell, which is the DNA. You know, the nucleus serves as a control center for the cell. So nucleus is found in both plants and animals. It's very, very important in a cell. Option C is called the cell membrane. Note this, the cell membrane can also be regarded to be called the plasma membrane. You know, this basically, controls the movement of substance. Like it serves as a barrier. Cell membrane. It serves as a barrier between the inside and the outside of the cell. It controls the materials that enter inside the cell and leaves the cell. That's the function of the cell membrane. So both cell contains cell membrane. Note this. Do you understand? Both cell contains what? Cell membrane. Plants can control how substance enters and leave them. Animals can also do that. So it is found in both plant and animal cell. Okay, now note this also, that cell wall is only found in plant cell. Do you understand? So we said two things that is found in plant cell that is not found in animal cell, and is what? Chloroplast and what? Cell wall. This is very, very important. You know, the cell wall helps to give the cell its rigidity. That is why the cell wall of a plant cell is rigid. But animals, they are not. I believe you understand my point. So we've come to the end of this video lesson. If you find my video lesson helpful, make sure you click on the subscribe button to my channel and also share these lessons with your friends. Thanks for watching.
To have more understanding about chemistry calculations and solving all of these type of questions, I already have them on the chemistry masterpiece, okay, which is calculations and keynotes in chemistry. So if you are preparing to write the Jamb exam, this book is very, very important for you. Now, for more information getting the chemistry masterpiece, do well to direct message me via my WhatsApp number. It will be on the screen.